Hi there. Really, I want this video to be just kind of an informal chat between you and me and you, the viewer, about disinformation within the truth movement. Now, this is something that is just all-pervading. I've been an active truther for some years now, and I would like to talk about and just basically open up the discussion amongst truthers about the way in which our attention is being directed and the ways in which the truth movement are becoming useless, and how our ability to think and analyse critically is being eroded by distraction techniques and deceptions. Now, something that I'm really feel strongly about is if you are a truther, if you believe in the New World Order, well, I don't believe in it, but if you believe it's coming, if you believe it's here, if you know anything about Freemasonry, Luciferianism, the Agenda 21, and any of this, right? What I feel is important to pay attention to and catalogue and inform other people of is these doctrines in effect in your local area. This is one of the ways in which we can make sure, as members of the truth movement, that our evidence is tangible, that it is credible. You must know by now that the truth movement is subject to the same social engineering and behavioural and mental cueing as all the other aspects of media. Thankfully, we have YouTube. Now, YouTube does censor a lot of real stuff, but as a cross-section, as an example of humanity and our behaviours, our thoughts, our feelings, YouTube is invaluable. It's possibly the best thing to come out of the internet as a whole, and I think YouTube is a really rather beautiful tool. Now, on the subject of finding the NWO in action in your area, you want to look at local bylaws that are being passed. Civic monuments and artworks are always fraught with symbolism that is really easy to notice if you have done any research on symbolism, and really messages are conveyed through these monuments. A lot of monuments as well in public spaces have ritual value. Now, if you find a monument that has ritual value, please let me know, because in my city, Bristol, which is interesting to note, is the prototype green city for the whole world. This is the first place they're bringing it all in. There are ritual monuments in my city, and it's also common knowledge in Bristol that there are a network of underground tunnels that I know personally from a friend who's very trustworthy, that they've gotten into these tunnels and they are well used. They are lit, they are paved, they are signposted. Now, these are tunnels that are in frequent use and allow people of the Freemason and other elite bodies of Bristol who adhere to essentially a religious doctrine. This allows them to get around the city unseen for their ritual purposes. I would like to encourage people to document things on a local level. And, you know, this is where the real evidence for the New World Order is. Because the New World Order has to be active in all areas globally in order to be effective. And this is really how we can keep tabs on how effective it's becoming. You'll find once you start cataloguing things on a local level and discussing this with other truthers around the world, which we are in a privileged position to do, you'll find that there are correlations on a global level of what's going on in your area. And so I want to get back to the idea of disinformation, distraction tactics, and deception. Now, I've noticed that a lot of the juicy conspiracies that I can find out about are absolutely bloody useless to me. They're wild, and they're enormous, and they're inaccessible. Now, this is a way that I believe, and look, don't take anything I'm saying as gospel. That is another way in which we are tricked and we are duped and we believe people without looking into things for ourselves. A lot of the ways in which this is useless to us is that we can't secure any evidence of it ourselves. We have no tangible evidence. We cannot access these stories. And also, another way it is very effective in controlling the truth movement is a lot of these big, wild, juicy conspiracies. They make you look crazy if you talk about them with someone who isn't in the know. They make you look incredible. And I think if only the movement had more real credibility, there would be a lot more practical uses for what we are researching, what we are pointing out to each other and to those who aren't yet awake. So I've seen YouTube for some years now really spammed with videos that present certain ideals and certain stories. And I really like to look at the budget with things like this. Any at-home truther probably not making a great deal of money. I think it's quite safe to say anyone who's genuinely invested in the truth movement and with fighting the New World Order probably isn't going to be in a terribly powerful job, probably isn't going to be on a massive payroll. And so when I see an at-home production, someone with a crappy camera in their bedroom, I am actually far more likely to pay attention to this than a really well-produced video. If you look at the amount of videos on the same subjects and you look at the channels they're coming from, it's obviously disinformation, obviously from a controlled source. Now, the way in which this erodes the truth movement from within is it diverts your attention from useful action. Now, useful action is what the truth movement should be all about. Okay, we should be finding practical ways in which to oppose these kinds of attacks on us, on our souls. A lot of, if you look at the truth stuff that doesn't go into basic Christian fundamentals, then you're probably looking at a piece of disinformation. Anything that's claims to be of the truth movement but is still glorifying New Age ideals, and still allows justification for New Age ideals, it's probably a piece of disinformation. Because at the end of this, they believe it even if you don't. They're Luciferians, they're devil worshippers. It adds up to all this, and you talk about the Nephilim, the Anunnaki, and all this stuff. If you haven't heard of any of these things, look into them, because shit be crazy. Shit be fucking crazy. But all of this does have biblical context. Okay? So if you're coming to the end of a video and it's still promoting a New Age godless ideal, then it is still a production of the forces of the Illuminati. Because you're still arriving at the same conclusion as you were before the video. Okay? You're just given some sensationalist distraction to excite you. Now, think about the human brain. Think about what we are equipped to deal with in terms of our personal experience and the way we experience external stimuli. Do you think the human brain is really capable of separating that much media experience from real experience? Because I have dreams sometimes that I've gone to the shops and got milk, and then the next day I think I've gone to shops to get milk, and I haven't, okay? So the human brain isn't really even equipped to separate dream experiences from real experiences without having a proper think about it sometimes. So these media experiences that we're being presented with, it's done so in the knowledge that our brain will treat it as a real life experience. And this erodes our ability to think critically, because we're taking hearsay as evidence. It's stopping you from reading between the lines. Now, disinformation, unfortunately for the New World Order, can be as useful to the truth movement as real information. And this is the exciting part. By playing the deception, they really are showing their hand. And if you have the ability to deconstruct something critically, to deconstruct a concept or an argument critically, and read between those lines, then you can see the overall aim and the goal of a piece of media, rather than the message it appears to convey. And once you have determined what the real hidden goal of a piece of media is, you have the upper hand. I just really want to urge the truth movement to think more critically about what these conspiracies are useful for, what these theories that we're pointing out are useful for. Like, we know that all the celebrities are Luciferians. We know that they're Satanists. So, how is that useful to us? It's useful to us in that we can observe the intentions of the pop culture and the roots of it. But the implementation in our lives is pretty useless. You just disconnect from the popular culture. So on a local level, I think it's very important for people to be sharing their experiences of their surrounding their environment, and very importantly, the bureaucratic process in your local government and your local services. And this is really where we can start to oppose the New World Order in a practical and sensible way. Even if you don't have the urge to take any kind of stance, like if you don't want to face what is going on, then you can at least share it. Thank you very much.